Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Let's talk a little bit about CHRIS EUBANK Jr. Last seen being flattened by Liam Smith. And of course he has a rematch with Smith on September the 2nd. But he's parted company with Roy Jones Jr. And who's he now working with? None other than Brian McIntyre, Bomac himself, the man of the moment, who of course trains Errol Spence, who bet wish he does. But no, he trains Terence Crawford, who of course scored that magnificent win over Errol Spence at the last weekend. Look, I never ever thought that the Roy Jones Jr. Eubank Jr. thing was working. It looked totally like a total mismatch to me. Like not like a mismatch. They were mismatched. I didn't see any improvements in Eubank. I thought he was stuck between styles. I just thought it was from the word go. The moment I heard it, I thought it was a terrible choice of trainer, and that's no reflection on Roy Jones Jr. It's just the styles just don't match. And Eubank Jr. May have tried to imitate Roy, but why? Roy was one of a kind. What's he trying to do? How are you gonna imitate or emulate Roy Jones Jr.? What a trainer should do is take a person's natural style and then refine it or bring out the best, or maybe work on things like balance or punch combinations, or you do your drills and everything like that. But the idea that it just seemed to me that when you look at Eubank's attributes and style, and then you look at Roy Jones Jr., was it ever going to work? Not for me. But you now got to ask, well, all right, he's hired Brian McIntyre, Bomac. What's he going to do with him in just under a month? I mean, it's the 3rd of August today. The rematch is on the 2nd of September. Let's say they've had a couple of weeks of, I don't imagine that Bomac was doing much work with Eubank before the Spence Crawford fight, because obviously he's busy with Bud. But he's got like maybe 4 weeks and a couple of days to try and wave a magic wand and do something with CHRIS EUBANK Jr. I don't think it looks to me like just a gimmick. I mean, what is Eubank? What are they going to have time to work on? Maybe Bomac can say, well, you should do a bit of this, or have you considered that, or maybe he can sort of advise, be in an advisory role. But to be a trainer and to work on new things or refine old things, or perhaps nudge Eubank into remembering things that he did in the past. I mean, all this stuff takes time. A trainer and a fighter. I mean, it takes at least a year, at the very least. For any kind of fruits of your labour to become apparent. Not 4 weeks. It's ridiculous. So I think this just smacks of, I don't know, desperation, a gimmick. Now, if Eubank was to carry on working with, to relocate to America and do some real work over the next year or so, preferably 2 years. I mean, I think to be honest with you, never mind a year, I think it takes 2 years for a trainer and a fighter to really start singing from the same hymn sheet and to really be in sync. There has to be that sort of synergy, and that only comes with time. If Eubank was to do that, maybe in a year or two, but don't forget, is Eubank 33 now? No, I don't see it. I think it's such a silly sort of gimmicky thing. Who's the man of the moment? Bomac. Okay, well, we'll get him in for 4 weeks. And you have to ask, is Eubank trainable? Adam Booth didn't think so. He says he trained himself. Eubank did. Ronnie Davies was relegated to being a bucket carrier, which is terrible because Ronnie Davies, I know he's no spring chicken, but he's got knowledge. He's a good trainer. Didn't work out with Jones Jr. I don't think it would. And don't forget, of course, Bomac as well was hired by Amir Khan for the Kell Brook fight. That didn't go well, did it? But no, it takes time, and I think this is just a bit of silliness, to be honest with you. I don't expect anything to anything different from Eubank other than maybe advice from Bomac, but that's it. It's, you know, I'm going back a lot of years here. For some reason, it's popped into my mind when I heard this, you know, reported marriage between the two. Way back, the heavyweight back in the early 90s, the heavyweight Derek Sweet D Williams was coming up to fight Lennox Lewis. So what did he do? He got an advisor in, none other than Angelo Dundee, who, you know, obviously didn't have time to train him properly. And again, Dundee was not a young man. But he supposedly gave him some sort of insight or advice or something that was going to help Sweet D. And Sweet D got flattened in 3 rounds by Lewis. Okay, a lot of people did, no shame in that. But was Angelo Dundee, the great Angelo Dundee, you know, trainer of Sugar Ray Leonard and Muhammad Ali, was he ever going to be able to do anything, bring out the best of Derek Sweet D Williams in a couple of weeks? Of course not. And I think it's the same with Bomac and CHRIS EUBANK Jr. It's just a gimmick. That's my opinion. Leave your opinion below. Tell me what you think of this. Yeah, and I'll read your comments and answer them. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you could subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And also give that, you know, like button a good right cross as well. Appreciate your time as always, and I will answer your comments. And yeah, take care and bye for now.